Yes, and our guest star tonight is the slightly nervous but very funny Mr. Don Knotts. But first, just for fun, here is a ginger-flavored opening number.
Hello and welcome to 70 Years, 70 Muppets. More Muppets, please. A Muppet fan podcast presented by toughpigs.com. This is the podcast where we celebrate the Muppets' 70th anniversary with a series of spotlights on our favorite Muppet characters, from fan favorites to the most obscure. I am this week's host, Anthony Strand, and the Muppets of the week are the Gingerbread Men, Crumb, Gingerbread, Frostington, Clive Cookie Pants, and Ginger Spice, performed, of course, by themselves, making their world debut in the year 1962 or 1977, according to Muppet Wiki, but someone needs to edit that one, I guess. I am joined today by a fellow Sweet Tooth, longtime Gingerbread Men fan, Louis Pearlman. Thank you for joining me today, Louis.
Anthony, I've been waiting to talk about this band my whole life. Thank you for having me on the show.
Awesome. I'm so glad I could do that for you. So tell me, Louis, first of all, why the Gingerbread Men? What stands out to you about their body of work?
You know, the Gingerbread Men are in a long line of examples of a band that never really got their due. I feel like the Gingerbread Men, there's complexities beneath their sweetness that we have never delved into before. And in the realm of music commentary, music culture, what was going on in the 60s when they made their debut, and their fall from grace in the 70s, and their eventual 1980s redemption. I just feel like there's so much to address with them, and none of the big music journalism avenues, they don't want to take them seriously. They've never been profiled in Rolling Stone properly. Pitchfork won't touch them well with a 10-foot pitchfork. So it's up to us. It's up to us to pick up the slack and talk about the Gingerbread Men.
That's the thing. Yeah, I could not agree more. So this is, of course, a Muppet podcast.
Yes.
So I think we do need to start with their big comeback moment. Their appearance on The Muppet Show in 1977, the Don Knotts episode. Don Knotts, also a 60s icon, so it was fitting, I think, that they invited the Gingerbread Men on to perform their title song, their big comeback song, Sweet Gingerbread Man. Why is this performance on The Muppet Show so revolutionary?
Well, it's important just to note that this performance almost didn't happen. By this point, the Gingerbread Men were considered passé. They were considered kid stuff from about 10 years previous. A big problem for their careers at that point when they were ready to branch out and do other types of work. And also just the fact that, behind the scenes, there was a lot about how Don Knotts wanted to eat them. And that was a big problem for them because they didn't actually want to be eaten, the Gingerbread Men. So there had to be a lot of mediation between the Henson people and Don Knotts and the Gingerbread Men to make sure that the Gingerbread Men had a safe environment to appear where they wouldn't be eaten, which was a recurring theme for their entire career.
That's right. Especially their limbs look so succulent.
Absolutely.
And that was always a problem when they were performing around humans. But so the performance did happen. Yes. Obviously, we have them. You can watch it on DVD. You can watch it on Disney Plus. You can watch it on YouTube. You can fire it up on YouTube.
Yeah.
Listeners. What is it about this performance that makes it special?
I think it's delightful, and I think it showcases how the Gingerbread Men are not only just musical tour de forces in themselves, but also are the full package. We've got Crumb, who can sing, and then we've got the ensemble who are, to my knowledge, playing all their own instruments on this track, although it should be noted that for their previous work, they were working with the Wrecking Crew for a lot of their previous work, but for this, they were playing their own instruments. But during this performance, they were doing all their own dancing, and they really, I would say, they rival the Jackson 5 when it comes to their ability to play their own instruments and dance at the same time. It's really incredible.
I could not agree more, Louis. So I want to talk about Crumby, the lead singer here. Crumby, especially in their earlier work, he used a very different vocal style, gravelly. Some might even say monstrous. Here he is experimenting with a brand new type of singing. How does that work for you?
I think it works really well. At this point, it definitely seems like Crumby is being influenced by other 70s AM radio groups, like the Carpenters, or even previous vocal groups like the Fifth Dimension, and that Crumby just wanted to, break out and really sing. At this point, I know Crumby had been working with a vocal coach, and Crumby was sort of willing, was ready to leave their cookie garage rock past behind them and maybe achieve a little more mainstream success by this point.
Like, a thing that I always think about is that hadn't been going well for them in the years leading up to this. Like, before they were on the Muppet Show, this is Darkness on the Edge of the Pan is the album that Sweet Gingerbread Man is on.
Yeah.
That's a new direction. But before that, they'd done Goat's Head Gingerbread, which I think is an album that is fascinating, but just doesn't really work.
Yeah.
For me, it just fully feels like they don't know what they're doing anymore. So for them to turn it back around and have this big hit, I think is really impressive.
Yeah, and it has so much to do with who they were working with at this point, Their previous album before this, it's a concept album that is all about the Book of Revelations. And that just seems like such a strange stretch for a gingerbread band to be recording about. I certainly think that there's some interesting work on there. I love the song Repent, Cookie, Repent. I think that's, really interesting, addressing a lot of the social ills that were happening in the early 70s when they recorded it. But this the record that was new at the time when they appeared on the Muppet Show, it's definitely a return to form. We've got some sugary, sweet harmonies on there. One might even call them molasses-y. I would say the bass lines are very aromatic. So it just really works for me. As the sort of 70s pop head that I am. Yeah.
Great. Yeah. So obviously we've talked about their Muppet Show appearance. What are some of your other favorite moments from the Gingerbread Man?
Oh my gosh. Well, it's really amazing that at the same time that they were doing this in the late 70s, they made their historic appearance at CBGB's in Lower East Side of New York. I believe they shared a bill with the Ramones and the Tough Darts, which seems like an odd pairing, but it turns out that so many of the punks that were involved in the 70s scene grew up with the Gingerbread Man, and we're really excited to see them at CBGB's contributing to their scene that they were building from the ground up. So, I have to mention that. And then also, I love when the Gingerbread Men duet with Cher on Ain't No Mountain High Enough on the Sonny and Cher show as well. I believe that was just a few years previous to their appearance on the Muppet Show. And it just shows so much range. I
think that's 73.
Yeah, 73. I think that's right, Anthony. Yeah, so, just those two appearances alone, there they are on this, day glow, flowery set with Cher, who's in some Bob Mackie bell-bottoms for that number, I believe. And then we've got them slumming it with all these, former art students and guys from Queens hanging out on the Lower East Side, in a grungy club. There's a rumor that Crumby had a little fling with Debbie Harry in the CBGB's bathroom during that show, but that's unsubstantiated.
They didn't leave any crumbs behind.
Certainly not, no, so we just don't know.
Right. So, anyways, the Gingerbread Men obviously never worked with the Muppets again.
Yeah.
After this, they did those other things in the 80s. We saw them on Wayne Brady, their farewell appearance. We know that Wayne Brady is a fellow sweet tooth. So after all these years, it's been now 24 years since that farewell appearance. What final thoughts do you have to share about the Gingerbread Men before we go?
I would say the Gingerbread Men were just too sweet for their time. I would say that the Gingerbread Men, if you really listen to what they're doing, especially in their 60s output, all their songs have such an amazing snap to them. And although a lot of that stuff was marketed for, young boys and young girls to spend their bakery money on records, what was really happening there is that they were laying down a lot of the musical foundation for bands for the next 20, 25 years. Yeah, I mean, I would put them in the same category as the Byrds, the Doors, the Animals, yeah, just all those good bands. Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young, all those bands, just as important. The Gingerbread Men were just as important and just not discussed as much. So it's really worth just delving into their discography and taking another look.
Yeah, I agree, and I hope listeners do that. I hope we can use this platform to bring awareness to some of their non-Muppet Show work. Because as Muppet fans, we tend to focus on that.
Yeah.
Right?
And I just. Yeah. And Anthony, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off, but I just have to shout out Crumb for his amazing 1985 solo album that's called "I'm Not Just the Cute One," produced by Quincy Jones. It's just a remarkable record.
Yeah, I agree. It's a good one, and listeners should definitely check it out. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining me today, Louie. Anywhere that listeners can find your work, can we shout out some of your work before we go?
I'd love to. You can find me on Instagram and Blue Sky at Louie4711. I'm a regular performer in New York City, where I live. I produce a monthly show called Songs and Scenes that I perform in that I'd love to see some Tough Pigs people out at. Nothing would make me happier. You can follow that show on Instagram at Songs and Scenes NYC. And hit me up. I'm always doing something sweet and aromatic for y'all to take in.
70 Years, 70 Muppets, More Muppets Please is a Muppet fan podcast presented by toughpigs.com. Hosted by a myriad of people and edited by them as well. Produced by Joe Hennis. The Muppets 70 logo is used with permission by the Muppet Studio, with thanks to Danny Iglesias, Frank Reifschneider, and Lee Slaughter. Don't forget to follow toughpigs.com on all social media platforms, and you can support us by heading to patreon.com/toughpigs or by buying merchandise at tpublic.com/toughpigs.